Hello everyone. Actually, it would be wrong to categorize superheroes and their movies according to children, because many of us grew up with these heroes and we still continue to watch them with great excitement. Although these heroes appeal to all age groups, some movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe contain scenes that are not suitable for children at all. Let's take a closer look at these scenes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But first, I would be very happy if you subscribe to my channel and like my video. Let's get started. iScan. When the first Avengers movie was released, there were already 5 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Loki was the only supervillain that stood out in these movies, and we can even say that Loki was the one who brought the Avengers team together. Loki, if not Asgard, then Midgard, and wanted to rule one of the 9 kingdoms. Of course, he needed a few important details for this. First of all, he had to get the Mind Stone from Thanos, which we witnessed that he could not do at the very beginning of Infinity War. This would allow him to control the minds of his heroes and take over the Tesseract. He would also be able to open a portal with this stone and create a gateway for the Chitauri to come to Earth. Hawkeye told Loki that he needed a retinal eye scan. As you can imagine, Loki handled this easily in his own unique way. He needed eyes for the scan, and Loki removed his victim's eyes in the most public way possible, at a fancy party, using a scary device. Of course, we didn't get a clear view of this scene, but it was possible to understand what was going on by Loki's facial expression. The Librarian. As you know, Doctor Strange is the first hero to bring magic and all other magical characters to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the extraterrestrial Dormammu. For those who don't know about Dormammu, he is one of Doctor Strange's greatest enemies. This character is also very good at manipulating everyone he comes across. Another fierce enemy of Doctor Strange is Key Issues. These magical world names sound really cool, don't they? If you remember, in the movie, Key Issues wanted the immortality of the Sorcerer Supreme, and to get it, he even performed a forbidden ritual in the Sanctum Sanctorum library that opened the world to the Dark Dimension. At first, we thought he wouldn't do anything to the Librarian. Look at this poor guy. Watching Key Issues subjugate the poor Librarian and take his life with his dark powers and magic was one of the most frustrating scenes, and it showed us what kind of evil powers the Dark Dimension harbors. Propeller. Of course, every superhero is powerful in his or her own way, and every superhero movie has some characters who have become giants in their own right. But among these movies, Captain America, the first Avenger, holds a special place, because this movie was also set in the 1930s and 1940s. In this movie, we had the opportunity to watch the advanced soldier Steve Rogers fight against the Nazi Army Hydra and their leader Ra's. It was possible to see cool weapons and vintage elements together in the movie. All this was accompanied by a very exciting story. Captain America, the first Avenger, impressed Marvel fans at the time. Speaking of weapons, it's worth mentioning that Steve Rogers took down the bad guys with a single punch. One of the most shocking moments was when Captain America boarded Ra's plane at a moment when Ra's was very close to the Tesseract. In the fight here, many Hydra soldiers lost their lives, either in the fight or falling out of the plane. During Captain America's fight with the Hydra pilot, the pilot succumbed to Steve Rogers and fell to his death on the plane's giant propeller. It's a bit of a sickening image, don't you think? The Angry Investor. Ant-Man made a very fast and impressive entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Especially the character of Scott Lang doubled the impressiveness of the movie. It is really admirable that Michael Douglas has achieved such a success with the original Ant-Man character Hank Pym. In the comics, we used to see this character in the yellow and black Ant-Man costume. In these stories, Ant-Man had a darker personality as well as his evil relationships. As a matter of fact, Marvel chose to reflect this Ant-Man character in a different way in its cinematic universe. In the Ant-Man movie, there is talk of a costume that can shrink and grow, designed using the latest technology and materials. As you know, Scott Lang was even planned to steal this suit. But in this movie, we had a villain who was not afraid to use technology and his own evil powers. If you've noticed, in superhero movies like this, technological advances are usually dominated by the villains of the movies. Imagine you're organizing a showroom to sell this technology, and you have a bunch of Hydra agents flocking to the event. I witnessed some pretty creepy moments in these scenes of the movie, where our aggressive villain uses this technology to turn one of the buyers into a little piece of sticky meat. It looks really bad, doesn't it? It makes you want to wipe the floor with a napkin. It's something we really wish never happened to anyone. And it goes without saying how dangerous this technology can be in the wrong hands. Fortunately, this is about Scott Lang. The death of Tony Stark's family. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as you know, Steve Rogers and Bucky Barnes were best friends from the very beginning. While Captain America was trapped under the ice in Antarctica waiting to be rescued by S.H.I.E.L.D., Bucky Barnes was brainwashed by Hydra and had no self. But Bucky Barnes had been programmed by Hydra and was working as Hydra's spy and even murderer. When Captain America became Bucky Barnes' #1 target, Steve Rogers did everything in his power to save his old friend and bring him out from under Hydra's influence. It was really fun to watch Steve Rogers' efforts to get Bucky Barnes out from under Hydra's influence. In fact, at first in this movie we thought that Zemo was exploiting Cap's trust in Bucky, but then we realized that it was the other way around. In fact, the truth was even darker than the security camera footage that we couldn't figure out why it was there. This was Bucky Barnes killing Tony's family. Watching that was really quite disturbing on every level. Because given Steve Rogers' friendship with Bucky Barnes, this could have been the end of the Avengers. Extremist tests. As you know, Captain America achieved his current physique and position thanks to a serum injected into his body during the tests. Considering the experimental projects that ended badly, this experiment applied to Steve Rogers was quite perfect. So much so that especially with the Iron Man 3 movie, hopes were raised that superpowered soldiers could exist in the universe at any time. Of course, if you live on a planet that is constantly invaded by beings from other worlds, this serum will be very useful for you. You can walk down the street and suddenly turn into a powerful bomb. In the comics, the formula of the Extremist serum worked like healing a wound on the body. In the movies, however, the Extremist formula caused an extreme increase in body temperature, leading to the death of the victims. So Extremist was known as a very alarming formula. It was really hard to watch these scenes because the victims injected with Extremist serum were burned from head to toe. Drowning upside down. Although Thanos came nose-to-nose with the Avengers team and turned them all upside down, Thanos was not the first hero to deal with the Avengers. Zemo had managed to put an end to the Avengers. While doing this, Zemo had neither a super costume on him nor an army that he was fighting. Zemo had managed to completely disband the Avengers team using Steve Rogers' loyalty to Bucky Barnes. We talked about this a short time ago. If you remember, the security camera footage showed Bucky Barnes killing Tony Stark's family. But for all of this to happen, Zemo needed to get to this evidence-based goal. That's why he had to use a Hydra agent as a pawn. In these scenes, we witnessed the moments when Zemo tried to strangle the Hydra agent by tying him upside down by his feet. As a matter of fact, he did not trust Agent Zemo and breathed his last, saying, "Long live Hydra." Although we didn't see this scene, we felt Zemo's ambition to take revenge on the Avengers team for his family and the agent's death scene with all its reality. Thanks for watching. How did you like these scenes? Do you think the scenes are suitable for children? We are waiting for your comments. See you.